If your only experience with Claude at the moment is opening a chat window and asking it questions, you've probably seen about 5% of what is actually possible. There are 7 distinct levels to Claude, and most business owners are stuck on level 2, and they don't even know that level 4, 5, 6, or even 7 actually exists. And that would be fine, except the people who are running away from you in the market right now will be operating at level 4, and they are going to be further ahead, while a lot of people are still refining prompts and chatting to an AI system thinking it's smart. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what level that you are on, what the next level looks like, and how to actually climb from that point. So this is going to be a quick map over pretty much everything that we're going to cover today. So we've got level 1, which is chat, level 2, which is projects, level 3, which is CoWork, level 4, which is terminal code, which is basically code on your computer, level 5, which is multi-agent code, level 6, which is multi-agent code plus intelligent systems, and then level 7 is the loop, the Karpathy looping, which is quite high level in all fairness. So let's break each down. So level 1 is a chat, right? This is the starting point. So this is where you ask it a question, you open a window, and it's where you both basically normally start, but a lot of people don't leave, right? So chat is good for research, it's good for brainstorming, it's good for first drafts, it's getting unstuck on a problem, it's asking specific questions and getting a specific answer. But where people get stuck on level 1 is they treat Claude like Google, and they ask it, they receive, they move on, and the conversation is always just transactional. They're never actually collaborating with it, they're never iterating, and never actually pushing. The unlock to level 2 is realizing that every single thing that you do inside of a chat, research, brainstorming, advice would be very, very useful, right? If Claude actually already knew who you were and it had a little bit of a brain and information on you. So that is basically where you start to build out actual context, and that is where you are moving into projects, and that is basically level 2. So if you're on level 1 right now, right, your job is to basically move from level 1 to level 2, and all you're going to do is basically pull the information that you're using from chats and start putting it into individual projects and building out the instructions and knowledge base for getting high level outputs. So level 2 is basically a project. So this is where it's got consistent and persistent context. So this is where you upload in your IP, your brand guidelines, your offer information, your transcripts, and everything that you need to know to operate that specific project, right? And that is where most people stop, because projects start to feel like magic. They will blow your mind with what they can actually do, right? Because the output is in your voice, the references are looking at your past work, it's using real IP on your brand identity, on your offer, on your target market, even on your KPIs, your numbers, whatever you've got this project set up for. And then 90% of business owners, right, just end up stay stuck there because they think that that is the ceiling, and it's not in any way, shape or form. So where level 2 falls down is this. So it's basically a project is there to build an output, right? But it will not actually do anything in the real world for you directly. So it's great for getting loads of manual workload off your plate, but it's not great in terms of having tasks running independently in the background, which you don't have to touch. So the unlock to level 3 is basically realizing that AI doesn't have to just stop at producing. It can actually start to act and do for you. So level 3 is CoWork, and this is where basically Claude will live across your active tools with Google Drive, with Gmail, with MCP connections, updating and connecting to your CRM, your email marketing systems, finance, everything. So when you go from level 2 to level 3, all you're looking at doing from that point is starting to actually generate actions from the AI system itself, right? So rather than just having it independently in a project that you control, you can set it up on CoWork. So so for example, you want to send a follow-up email to prospects that you have calls with, you can literally just go to CoWork, ask it to give you instructions on that, get the MCP connection set up for your Fathom and your Gmail, and then it'll basically automate a trigger that is sent out to people. So that's just one example. So most people will start to get to a point of skipping this because they will just stay stuck in this process of manually doing everything themselves and copy and pasting because it is faster. But once you've built CoWork properly, and built the real building rails to it, you'll stop being the bottleneck in every single action of your company, and your team will also then be on a much higher level of execution and output because they are also maximizing their time as much as what you are as well. So what you're trying to do here is projects is going to make you move faster. It's going to make you move better, right? The CoWork is going to do stuff for you. But then when you start coming into a level 4, this is where it starts to become a bit more complex. So this is where you're looking at terminal coding. So this is basically the high-level professional version of actual CoWork and projects, but that actually lies on your computer and has agents and skills that you can build into it. Same as you can build skills into CoWork, right? So what Claude Code does that you will not be able to do on the app, right, is just build high-level shit, right? So you're looking at platforms, you're looking at websites, you're looking at software, you're looking at apps, you're looking at interactive assessments tools, you're looking at the actual coding, and everything that would normally take a developer to do in the background, you can now do with terminal code, right? So once you then combine plan mode with custom skills and real repeatable workflows and things that you know with your experience and your human intuition, you can literally set up agents to be running in the background and just doing things for you autonomously at all times, however long that you are logged in. So what I also find with terminal code is the processing power and functionality of what you can obviously do. It has a lot of similarities to CoWork, but in reality, for me now, for where I operate, I run everything through terminal code just because of level 4, level 5, and level 6. But if you are in a position where you want to really start building stuff and you want to start running it at a high level, then terminal code is where you basically need to be going from that point, right? So the unlock from that point, right, is then going into level 5. And this is basically where you are looking at multi-agent terminal coding. So that is where you are basically having multiple agents working collectively across multiple different areas. So you've basically got sub-agents who are doing different things. So you might have a sub-agent that is reviewing, a sub-agent that is doing research and discovery, a sub-agent that might be doing building, a sub-agent that might be doing actually scheduling and executing. So this is basically where you start to build independent teams what are basically located live on your actual computer. So for example, a real example would be you would mass produce a lot of information. You'd set off one sub-agent to be processing all the information. You'd be looking at another sub-agent to be looking at scraping data online. Then you'd look at another sub-agent to be combining the data that you are scraping plus the information that you are finding out. And then you've got another sub-agent who's doing the production. Like, the possibilities are endless, guys. I could show you a million different variations of stuff that this stuff can do. So the area that this will fall down, because they all do fall down in a certain area, is they don't actually know what is happening in your business and what's working in your ads or what's converting with sales or what customers are saying. So they're going to be great at doing an action, right? But what they're not going to be good at is actually looping that information back round to themselves to find out what is obviously working. So level 6 is where you've got like multiple agents which are built in, wired into your business intelligence. So like your Google Drives, your CRMs, your customer feedback, your IP and everything else. So they will then get to a point of actually making informed decisions because they can actually see the live MCP or live API data that they are actually pulling from your actual company. So for example, rather than it just creating free Instagram posts, what you want the agent to do is going to have looked at the last 7 days of your Instagram posts based on top performing data plus scraping competitors. This is what I'd recommend for your emails, Instagram ads, or finance reporting, organization operations, whatever it may be this week, right? So that's basically what all that level 6 is where you've got multiple agents who are then tapped into actual intelligence from your actual company, and that is going to be running through MCPs and APIs together, right? So all we're looking at an example there is you could be having a multiple agent which is connected to your Fathom sales call transcripts. It could then process your actual transcripts, then cross-reference it against content, then pull through pain points from the sales call transcripts and content, and then tell you exactly what you need to be posting next week to get the highest level of response with content marketing or email marketing or meta ads marketing. So it's crazy, right? So level 6, again, falls down, though, because it is still going to wait for you to give it the next task. So, yeah, it's using intelligence. Yeah, it's got multiple agents. And, yeah, it's got all of that. But what it doesn't have, which what level 7 does, and that is Karpathy looping, right? So Andrej Karpathy basically is the person who come up with the concept, something I'm really heavily working on at the moment. So this is basically where the actual AI system and the sub-agents will not only execute the task, but they will also run the assessment on how well it has gone, plus using your actual intelligence, plus speaking to other AI agents and creating this basically looping concept where all of these agents can work together. So on a 24-hour period, they are just literally going to get better and better and better and better and better. Right, but again, that is where you're starting to come into really high level stuff, right? So at this point, you're obviously not just typing prompts, guys. Like, you're not even just assigning tasks. You're not even orchestrating anything. You're literally just setting a strategic direction and saying, right, guys, can you guys just go away and run this entire system for me? So like, again, like this is where the AI agents will start to get real like established patterns, and they'll start to really understand what they are doing. And once you're on that point, guys, obviously it's like a level that has never been comparable before. You'd have to pay tens upon thousands for people to basically do this for you. So there is a little bit of a reality check to this. So why do people actually stop at level 2? Right? Because it's really easy to just get to a point where you're happy, but there's 3 reasons. So number 1, right, is projects already feel like magic. The output is really good, the voice is right, and the ceiling is because you've never actually seen anything or done anything like this before. Level 2, right, then it requires you to learn a little bit more. You have to basically understand integrations, you have to understand the MCPs, you understand the APIs, and going from like level 2 to level 5 and level 6 is a bit of a jump up, but it's not difficult. You just need to know what that actual next step is. One of the best bits of advice that I could give to you guys is to not get comfortable at the level that you are on now, because when you get to a point of working through these levels, you will really start to open your mind to what is actually possible with artificial intelligence, away from just nailing the absolute basics of running a chatbot or setting up a project or even just having tasks running in the background. But also at the same time, I would highly recommend on doing it right. Something that I teach to my clients and my community is that you should not really be running into CoWork setup structures until you have got your projects done right. Because imagine it works like this. You've got level 1, which is just intelligence that you've not had before. Level 2, you've then got outputs using intelligence to then remove all of your manual workload to run all of your stuff at a higher level than you've ever done before. And then from the next level, from level 2 to level 3, is moving from projects to going to CoWork. That's where you can start to get tasks done for you. Like for me, like you've also got to take into account the costs of running terminal coding as well. So I use a lot of tokens on a day-to-day basis. I also have a 24-hour AI development team that works as well, which also uses a disgusting amount of tokens. So it's just something that I wanted to take you into account. I would not recommend just running straight into terminal coding, even though it is, yes, 100% better. But I still use my projects and my CoWork every single day without question. And it's what I would highly recommend that people focus on the most, because that is where you will get the highest ROI immediately. When you move into terminal coding, or you want to move into that, you will see that it is a very, very different operating system. And often it can cause a lot of stress and overwhelm, because it is higher level than what you are doing with just using the Claude app. So for me, if you're not at a point where you're maximizing Claude projects and CoWork yet, then that is the first place that you need to start. People then commonly think that you need to have high level tech skills for this. You don't in any way, shape or form. I literally give the Claude projects and CoWork to my clients as copy and paste SOPs. If you can read, copy and paste and iterate and just literally paste stuff into the right places with demo videos to do that, you can set up AI systems that would be running at what was, let's say, over £100,000 a month in staff wages. It's crazy level stuff, guys. And remember that AI is just one small part of what's going to be happening in this next era of business. Personal branding for me is literally up there as the same level of importance. Build a personal brand, adopt to AI. You can't really go wrong in the next 5 years, I don't think. If you don't adopt to AI, you don't build a personal brand, I personally foresee that you will suffer a hell of a lot. And that is what we do as a coach consultant. We put all of our time and effort into personal brand building and artificial intelligence adoption. We are at the forefront of the AI race without question, and I would love to show you what we do inside the coach consultant at some point. And if you want to subscribe, if you're not subscribing, please do that. Or if you want to find out more about what we do inside my actual programs, if you go to the description with the link in my bio, you can find out more there. Hope to see you inside, and I'll see you on the next video.